Hi guys, Artiar here. So for this video will be the endgame PvE ability mod priority tier list for 3.4.24. So the last one, my ability mod tier list was 8 months ago. That is for patch 3.4.11, so which is already past 13 patch. I finally have the time, or I finally feel like it's the time for me to update the ability mod tier list, because we have some Esper balance, we have more new Esper now, so it will be more better for me to cover the timing now. So this tier list here will be only focusing on endgame PvE, which is like falsetto fantasy, retro speedrun, desolate land, like some of the event trials. But all these things here, the priority won't be including the tower clearing and also story stages. So this is more aiming for towards in endgame, which is in a long run. We won't look at the short run. So this tier list here, all the Esper that were already put here, is based on what I did previously at 3.4.11. So I won't go through the other Esper now, because there's so many Esper, it will take me a lot of time. Not to mention we have so many new Esper as well. Alright, so I added another tier here, which is a third priority, because I feel like some of the Esper in the second priority no longer deserve the second priority, but I don't think they are at the S3 enough, or the without still strong tier. Then I'll make another third priority, because their ability mod investment is also not at waste. So I added a new tier. So let me go through with the old tier list here and see what we're gonna have adjustment first. So the highest priority here, we have Artiar, Sujer, Emblaslon, Ollie, all this thing here. So I think Ollie will go down to second priority, because Ollie is still one of the best speed run for Chronos, but only in Chronos. So I don't think he deserves the highest priority anymore, because it's only specifically for Chronos itself in PvE. Other content PvE, not really anymore, at least from 3.4.11 until 3.4.24. I don't see any more usage in Ollie at the moment, so I would put him one tier higher, one tier lower. Then for TLDR, I would put him to second priority as well. The more late game we see, the less usage we see in TLDR. Even though TLDR is still one of the strongest, not one of the strongest, one of the best or better pick in Yinglong. But other than that, we have better elemental Esper that can replace TLDR position at the moment. Then for Raven here, I will also push her to second priority, even though she get a buff. Like, she get a buff, so she no longer need the ability mod that often. And in terms of speed run, most of the time we don't really rely on Raven anymore, because we have like level 70 EXP stuff to can buff our Esper to actually outcome the levels, like the skill up difference. So I would say her skill up is still important, but no longer that high. Okay, then for the second priority here, I think they still deserve at the second priority, because you'll notice that most of the highest priority is actually the DPS position, because they really need the skill up to do massive damage. Then for Sally, I will push her down to third priority or without still strong, somewhere here. But for now, I would say Sally will be going without still strong. If I have Sally, I probably won't skill up Sally when I just started the game. I will still just use her as a healer slot, but without skilling her up. Same for Donner, I would put him down to without still strong now. Then the rest here still remains. Nora, yep, Nora value still there, probably good. Sienna, Narmer, I will push him up to the down to the third priority. Like, cause previously we are using like R6 Narmer for the APAP speedrun, but we have a lot more better strat now, no longer need Narmer, so Narmer no longer need the legendary ability mod in my opinion. Okay, then the rest here, I will still remain my option. Okay, Osana wise, I will push her down to second priority. Elaine, Leora, push her down to second priority. Okay, Moruyama, I will actually push him to the highest priority now, because the more late end game now with the new meta, Moruyama is actually a pretty strong unit in PvE as well, especially in retro speedrun and also falsetto fantasy. So falsetto fantasy, you can see a high resume Moriyama is conquering the Dark Starlord, and we can also see Moriyama in action in retro speedrun. For example, the APAP 3 turn, we can use Moriyama to replace Meta Lady, for example. And then Moriyama is a shimmer, which can be also used in a lot of content. So I would say the skill priority in PvE, Moriyama is actually holding a pretty strong position overall. Then the rest here, I'll still remain as second priority. Then the S3 enough here, I will probably put armored down to without still strong. I don't think he really need the S3 anymore. Then the rest of the Esper here, okay, 𝐀𝐁𝐈𝐋𝐈𝐌𝐻𝐍, I will push her up to second priority. After her buff, she's actually doing very good damage in falsetto fantasy. So pushing her up to second priority. Then the rest here, yeah, I would say the rest here remain without still strong, third priority as well. Then the waist here, is there anyone that actually get buffed and then need the skill up? I don't think so. Okay, so this is some adjustment in the tier list. Now we're gonna input the new Esper. So I'm not gonna go back like patch by patch. I'm just gonna go whatever I have at the bottom tier here. So Meta Aira, I will say you definitely need the ability, but if you're, since we're only talking at PvE now, she needs the S3. Alright, she needs her S3 to reduce her cooldown, to let her rotate her S3 a lot more smoother. You need her S3 for the SCs, you need the S3 for the AP push. The S1 doesn't really matter. It helps, but I don't think it's that important. I think the most important part will be the Aira S3. Okay, then the next one, our first Umbra Esper, 𝐀𝐁𝐈𝐋𝐈𝐌𝐻𝐍. So 𝐀𝐁𝐈𝐋 here, in my opinion, if you are still a new game player that haven't reached endgame yet, he will carry you. And if you're at late endgame, he will still carry you, but requires a little bit more reso. It can't be R0 anymore. So in my opinion, he deserves the highest priority. I really like his kit. And his his S2 actually need all the ability mon you need. The damage for his S3 is also very massive. Overall, he's a very strong Esper in my opinion that requires a lot of skill up to do massive damage. So in my opinion, I'll push him up to the highest priority. At the moment when you're at like R2, then you're starting to see a lot of action in speed run. He can, without R2, he can do a decent job in all the Ritual Miracle, all the Desolate Land as well. But probably when you reach late end game, you have more reso Esper, then he'll get outshine. But the moment he get R2 again or R4, then you'll see a lot more action. So I will say his ability mod is actually very high priority. Okay, then the next one. Hey, why Genie is here? I think she's at waist here. She's not the new Esper. Alright, the next one, Woundlock. So Woundlock, right? In my opinion, I would say he doesn't need the reso. Because most of the time, if you use Woundlock, is probably you just need a passive to give the extra damage and also the trigger to reduce the crit resist. So the rest of the skill up is just increasing his damage, increasing the trigger chance of the dispel. In my opinion, without still strong. Okay, you don't really need the skill up on Woundlock to be good. Okay, then for 𝐀𝐁𝐈𝐋𝐈𝐌𝐻𝐍 wise, in my opinion as well, it doesn't really matter for 𝐀𝐁𝐈𝐋𝐈𝐌𝐻𝐍 passive skill up, especially in PvE, without still strong. But probably in PvE, right? In PvE, 𝐀𝐁𝐈𝐋𝐈𝐌𝐻𝐍 doesn't really have a usage, so probably down to the waist tier. Then for Meta Yunchuan as well, I would say waste ability mod on Meta Yunchuan, because Meta Yunchuan doesn't really need the ability mod skill up. All you need is just putting him into the battle, then he will help you reduce the enemy damage output. Then for Meta Drew, I will say it's either at the highest or second. But keep note, Meta Drew here doesn't need the skill up on his S3. He needs the skill up at his S1, because why we are using Meta Drew, or why Meta Drew is strong, is because of his S1. He can actually steal stats, but the stats amount he can steal is based on the skill up. Originally he can only steal 40 of the base stat, but if you skill it to max, it can steal 100 of the base stat. S3 doesn't really matter too much, but overall I will still say it's a second priority, because if you want to use Meta Drew, you really want his S1 to be skilled. Okay, then for Meta Li-Ling. Meta Li-Ling really depends on what reso you're using and then how often you're using. If you're not using Meta Li-Ling at all, the skill up doesn't matter. But if you're using Meta Li-Ling, the skill up actually matter. And Meta Li-Ling is pretty strong in APAP, and also in APAP is the late endgame APAP, and also in falsetto fantasy probator. So overall, in terms of skill up investment, I will say third priority, because it really depends on your usage. Like without the skill up, he just lower down his damage because he don't have a cooldown in his kit. So if you want him to do more damage, you skill him up. But is it a mandatory thing? Not really. But is it a waste on him? Also not really. So overall, I will put him at the third priority. for PvE content. Okay, next one, Suizai. So Suizai skill up here is increasing his overall damage, the S3, and most importantly, I would say it's the S2 here. The counter attack chance is important. So if you use Suizai, that's 3 content you can use, but it's not going to be elite endgame. 3 content, which is the Wind Tower, you can use Suizai to help you solo the whole content. You can use Suizai for Shadow Stream, but not the best DPS slot and not the best support slot. Is just a temporary usage and can be helping you in your Yinglong as well, and it can help you in Fafnir as well. Not the best unit, but a usable unit. So overall, I will say Suizai here, it will add a 3rd priority. Because his main role is not in PvE anyway, but overall I will still say it's at the 3rd priority. Alright, then the next one, the Mingshuo. Mingshuo is the Esper that you can actually the Shimmer Esper that you can fuse for. And most of the time if you are using Mingshuo, and he's actually pretty often used in the late end game, especially when you're doing event content. Like the most recent one is a Sonica event. You'll be seeing Mingshuo doing action. You'll be seeing Mingshuo doing action in Abyss Trial as well. You can see Mingshuo doing action in Desolate Land. If you don't have the other best unit in slots, Mingshuo is one of the best unit you can actually do for most of your PvE content. So for my opinion, you can debate between the highest priority and the 2nd priority. But in my opinion, I'll put him at the highest priority because he really needs the S2 to reduce his cooldown to make his rotate the Thunderclap buff. So in my opinion, it's very important. Lapis, highest priority instantly. No matter what result your Lapis is, the moment you have Unas, the moment you have Lapis, then you let's say you have R0 Lapis, but you have a max skill up Lapis, you have R0 Unas, Lapis can help you conquer Shadow Stream, she can help you boost a lot of damage in Shadow Glow, she can be used in Versatile Fantasy as well, as long as you have Lapis and Unas. Without Unas, Lapis won't have this high priority, probably like 3rd priority. Alright, but if you have Unas, instantly the highest priority because Lapis plus Unas is the best combo. The AP push and the AP boost synergize is very strong. Alright, then for Nathaniel here, I will say Nathaniel is actually pretty strong as well, but I would say probably S3 is enough. Like, what kind of content would you use Nathaniel in? Because he's actually a PvP content as well. PvE, not really a lot of usage, but based on what I'm judging now, yeah, probably waste because he's a PvP unit. I have to be fair, right? He's a PvP unit. Even you skill him up to S3, based on the content we're judging today, it won't give benefit. Alright, then for Yujing S3, let's say the S3 here does extra damage with the cooldown, it doesn't matter. S1, the action bonus is actually pretty important, but you need Lu Shang there. So overall, I will say Yujing here will be at the 2nd priority because the S1, the AP push is pretty important, especially when you're using Yujing in Versatile Fantasy meta team. The AP push from S1 is important. The S3 reduce 1 turn of cooldown to make him make your ally to have extra bonus turn is very strong. Alright, so overall, 2nd priority in my opinion. Then for Badrun here, instantly go to the waist. Why? Because in PvE, there's no usage for Badrun. Probably in PvP, you might actually see me putting him higher tier, but in PvE, there's no usage. Then for Lu Shang, skill up is a waste. I'm putting Lu Shang at lowest tier not because he is weak. It's because putting ability mod on Lu Shang in PvE is a waste. There's no usage for Lu Shang skill in PvE. Most of the time you want Lu Shang, just put in your team, let him fishing at the side. You don't want to care about him as long as he's alive, then your team will get a boost. The skill up on his S1 increase damage, but Lu Shang doesn't do damage, it doesn't really matter. Then the S3 applies silence to the team, but Lu Shang doesn't need the silence at all. Like, can you silence the boss? You can't do that. So the ability Lu Shang is actually wasted, but doesn't mean that he's weak even though I put him at lower tier. Alright, then the next one is Bidao. So Bidao here, I will put him at waste. Right, so they are finally together beside. But Bidao is a waste is because even if you use Bidao in like Sonica team, or you're using Bidao in other content, there's actually not many content Bidao can be used, it's pretty niche. But the skill up on him doesn't bring you any value, just increasing his damage, but overall his damage is not coming from the skill effect, it's coming from the petrification or the Exotica dice thing. So overall it's a waste as well. Then the last one for the ability mon will be 紫赫. So in my opinion, 紫赫 value here have to go to S3 is enough. So why we are scaling up 紫赫 S3 is because we want 紫赫's S3 to skill to rotate faster. We want 紫赫to cast S3 as fast as possible to increase the boss damage taken, and 紫赫is mainly used in all 4 Desolate Land as well. The damage taken increase is so strong you can stack up to 5 times if 50% damage taken increase. So if you can reduce the turn by 1 turn, it will be a massive changes in terms of Desolate Land skill rotating around. Okay, so overall in my opinion here, let me see what anything should I change. Alright, probably Gabriel here, I will push her down to without Steel Strong, because the moment you use Gabriel in Fafnir, to be honest, no longer need the ability mod on her. Alright, then the rest remain. Alright, so this will be my own ability mod priority tier list based on what I use and what I see, and this opinion here is only for PvE and 3.4.24. Probably in the future when there's new Esper or balance patch, probably this will be not reliable again, but this will how I judge who should I ability mod on them. Alright, so this will be the PvE one. I will be making the PvP one as well, so stay tuned. If you have any disagree part, or if you have any suggestion, you can also let me know under the comment section. Probably I mislooked some stuff as well. So hope you guys enjoy the video and see you guys in the next one. Bye bye. Special thanks for the direct support on the YouTube membership. So for the benefactor of Artiar, which is JenMP, SPVCEJVMQ, TrendCan, thank you so much for your support. And also special thanks for the supporter or patron of Artiar, which is Louis Schneider, 𝐀𝐁𝐈𝐋𝐈, Wang Tamer, Ziggy, Kamaruki, Sunwaltz, Rimu, Choni, Antonio Winterspoon, Craigren, Calamity, Rocco Standions, Jordan Alons. Special thanks for your support. And also special thanks for the Super Thanks MVP, 𝐀𝐁𝐈𝐋𝐸, RY, and X, Reeds. Thank you so much for your support. Special thanks for the direct support on the live stream super chat for the latest 10. Thank you so much for Code Wardeners, Calamity, 𝐀𝐁𝐈𝐋𝐸, Love Fatima Little Underwear, Bloods, Riku Fred, Choni. Thank you so much for your support.